Hey Poplar Springs, youth or parents or whoever's listening to this. This is the 4th time I have tried to film this. I don't know what's going on with my phone, but it's going to be even quicker than it has been the last 3 times because I don't know if my phone's going to shut off. But this is week 3. It's the week 3 of the quarantine that we have been talking about at church, and week 3 of you're home at school, and just day 2 of stay at home, shelter in place. So if you don't have to be out and about, then you're at home right now. And in continuing with our theme that we already had planned for the spring, this is a lesson from Lola, one of my 3 dogs. So once upon a time, and let me say, I have maybe shared a little snippet of this in a sermon a few years ago, but most of you probably haven't heard. In my book that I'm writing, this chapter is called Lola the Demon Dog. But here it goes. Once upon a time, we had 2 dogs, and life was great. And Adam decided we needed a 3rd one. And long story short, we ended up getting a 3rd one. And I was just excited because puppies. I mean, when I'm stressed, I go to Pinterest and I type in puppies and I just look at pictures of puppies. And I often say that when I get to heaven, I'm just going to lay in a field and there are going to be puppies everywhere. And it's going to be beautiful because I love puppies. And I couldn't wait to get a new puppy because I couldn't wait to scoop a super soft, warm little puppy up and cradle it close to me and scratch his little ears and give it little kisses. And I couldn't wait for that. And you guys know, because you've heard about Lola, this is not the case with Lola. Let me introduce you to my other 2 dogs and explain to you what they were like really fast when they were puppies. Because this is why I thought I wanted another puppy. This is Lily, the first dog I ever had. Light's kind of funny, but she's super beautiful, and she's really fat now, but she's still beautiful. And Lily was actually an extremely destructive dog. She tore up the sheetrock, she ate a cabinet, she ate pants, underwear, socks, couches, blinds, yeah, you name it, and she ate it. But the thing about Lily is she was remorseful, and she knew she had done something bad, and she would want forgiveness. She'd hide under the bed, and she'd cower, and she'd kind of look at you like, I'm so sorry, are you going to forgive me? So that was her redeeming quality. Oliver, my favorite, look how cute he was. Oh my gosh, so adorable. And the only thing Oliver ever ate was 1 flip-flop, which I guess he means he really destroyed 2 flip-flops because he destroyed 1, and you can't have a flip without a flop. But he ate 1 flip-flop, and at 10 weeks old, he walked over to the door, scratched it, and never peed in the house again. And I didn't teach him that. Lily didn't teach him that. Lily's never scratched a door in her life. So Oliver is just the best dog, and so affectionate and so loving. Exactly what I want in a dog. All right, here's Lola. Now, this is a deceptive picture because it looks like she's super sweet and she's loving too, but she wasn't. This is Oliver and little Lola cradled up next to him. This was a glitch in time. I don't know how this happened. But Lola, as soon as we got her home, after about 2 days, she turned into a nightmare dog. She didn't necessarily, well, I don't know. I'm sure she peed in the house all over the place. But what she did was she would eat my flesh. She never bothered Adam, but she bit my toes. She bit the skin on top of my feet. She would chase me from room to room and lunge at me and bite me in the back of the calf. My neck is red because every time I tell the story in all those videos that didn't work, I've grabbed my neck because she would bite me in the neck. I'd grab her and try to hold her and calm her down, and she'd bite me in the neck. One time I woke up in the morning and she had bitten my spinal cord, like just chewed into my spine. So just crazy. And she never ran out of energy, and there weren't enough bones. There was not enough time running on the farm. There was not enough anything to cure her from her what seemed to be demon possession. I don't know. And so I had a really hard time with it because that's not what I wanted. I wanted a sweet, warm puppy that I could love. And that's the whole point of this story. Let me just go ahead and get you thinking about it. But I wanted a puppy I could love. Love. Like, what does love really look like, and what really is love? To me, in my head, love was I want to be able to scoop her up and pet her and just give her attention and rub her ears and make her feel safe, and spend time with her. And I couldn't do any of that with Lola because she wouldn't sit still and she wouldn't get her teeth out of my flesh. So One day I went to Gardner Webb to run, and I actually prayed. I was like, God, please, my parents always take in other people's unwanted animals. Please just, maybe my dad and mom will see how stretched I am, and they'll offer to take Lola. That would be wonderful. I think she'll live her best life at my parents' house. Anyway, that was my prayer. That's not how God took care of things. But on the second lap around Gardner Webb, I heard God say to me, you know, I never gave up on you, Nicole. And I know Lola's just a dog, and sometimes stuff happens. Sometimes you can't keep a dog. Someone's sick, you're moving, I get it. But I had no reason not to keep Lola besides she just wasn't what I thought she was going to be. And God never gives up on us. We have the free will to disappoint him over and over again, and he never says, I've had enough of you. He always is just washing us in his grace and forgiveness and loving us, and that really hit me hard. And it didn't make it easier to love Lola, but it changed my perspective so that God could continue to teach me another lesson. One day when Lola, I don't know how old she was, but one day, it was a Friday. Fridays I cleaned my house, and she had terrorized Lily and Oliver, like just running, chasing, barking, biting, 2 hours of just, good gracious, that dog. Well, she followed me into the bathroom, where we used to live in the shack, we lovingly referred to it. It was also the laundry room. I was doing laundry, and she followed me in. I actually took a picture because it was so monumental. She passed out on the floor. Look at her. She's just like motionless on the bathroom floor. And Lola, I'm serious, she would never sleep. She must have slept when I was at church working, because she never slept when I was at home. She was up most of the night, in fact, every night. But she just passed out on the floor. And immediately I dropped to the floor and just started petting her and rubbing her little ears, kissed her little face, and played with her little feet, and was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been wanting this whole time. I just wanted to love her. I haven't been able to love her because she wouldn't stop and just sit still. And that's when I heard God say, like, you know, Nicole, you've got the whole idea wrong. You think loving is this one thing. You think you love Lola when you're petting her and she's sitting calmly next to you and you're just talking to her and rubbing her little ears. But that's not the whole scope of love. When you have taken her to the vet and you've gotten her shots and given her a heartworm pill, and when you've protected her from the cows when they almost trampled her, and when you've given her exercise and you've fed her and given her clean water, and when you have done any of these things, you have loved her. And maybe she didn't realize it, mainly because she's a dog, and this illustration isn't point-to-point humans and dogs. But maybe you didn't think it was love, but it was love. Taking care of her and doing the best for her was loving her. You've loved her through all of this. And I have loved you through everything you've done. And see, you often, Nicole, you don't know that I'm loving you because you're so busy. You run around like a crazy demon-possessed dog too, and you never give me the chance. I'm loving you all the time, but you can't see it because you're only looking for this type of love. And you can only see this type of love from me when you sit still and you listen. All of these other ways, I'm loving you all of this all of the time, but you just can't notice it because you forget that me loving you looks all of these different ways. Me providing for you, me not giving you something you asked for because that's what's best, me answering prayers, me putting people into your life, coincidences, things that you think are coincidences, all kinds of stuff. Stuff is happening all day, every day, and you don't realize it's me loving you because it's not till you sit still and finally quiet yourself, which is like never, that you can finally process what's going on and process what I've been doing all along. In fact, for me, I hate to say this as a minister, I work at a church, but I come to church all the time and I do so many things to get ready to tell people about God and to have a word for them that I don't sit around often and let God have a word for me. I get too caught up in all of the administrative things that I have to do and planning, and I don't make my own time. In fact, a lot of times I know what God wants me to talk about at camp, or a devotion God wants me to share with the youth, because He woke me up in the middle of the night and told me. And I hate it when God does that, but He has to wake me up from my sleep where I'm lying in bed in the dark and I have nothing else to do, so that He can tell me something. And that's how it was with Lola. Like, I couldn't love her the way I wanted to love her until she would just stop. And God is loving you all the time. Hear me say that. All day, every day, in and out. But until you take time to stop and be present with Him and be aware of what He's doing, maybe you won't know. And I think, I know that this is just starting week 3 of this pandemic and this quarantine and this crazy time we're living in, but I hope and pray that since we've all had to stop, in some way, shape, or form, even if you're still working, it's different for you. If you're a student, you're still doing schoolwork, but it's different. And there's time now where you can stop. I hope and pray that you will. I hope and pray that if nothing else comes out of this weird time in history, that we will at least have been forced to be quiet and to listen and to open our eyes to see what God has been doing. Because maybe you haven't heard from Him in years. Because maybe you have been going and going and going and going. And even when you weren't going, you just had your phone up and you were going some more because you were just zoning out on stuff on your phone or in front of the TV or whatever else you do to occupy your mind. But I pray that this week maybe you would set aside some time and just sit. And it might be hard and you might not feel like you heard anything, but just sit and be still and ask God to show you how He's been loving you through it all, because He is. Even when you don't do maybe what you think is your part and you're not meeting God halfway, that God has never asked you to meet Him halfway. God goes the whole distance for you, and He's waiting. And whether it's today or it's 20 years from now, He loves you just as much, and He's still waiting to show you what He's been doing and what He's up to. And what greater time when things are tough and things can be kind of scary to say, God, what are you up to? Help me see through it all and to see what good things you're doing. So I challenge you to ask Him that this week and to see what He says back. Love you guys, and we miss you here at Poplar Springs, and I hope we see you soon. But until then, I pray that God shows Himself to you.